Hey Star, welcome to the cosmos. My name is Chrissy and I am on my new island of Tidewyn currently. This is a build that I did off camera for a fancy hotel for visitors to this tropical island, and I wanted to incorporate the sandstone colored castle items, and this was a build that I was nervous to do but very happy with how it turned out. And I also did some super minimal decorating to the left of the entrance just to kind of terraform and start pulling together how this island was gonna go. This tropical theme is very different from anything that I would come up with on my own, so it took me a little bit to kind of get a grip on it. And then I also back here created a treetop walk. If you haven't been on one of those, it's an elevated pathway and you just get to walk at the height of the branches, and I wanted to recreate that in Animal Crossing. So this is how I did it, and I put 4 houses around it. So there'll be 4 vacation homes where the visitors just come to stay, and yeah, that's where I have gotten the island to at this point. And I'm ready to show you what I was working on next. This first part is for the yacht club, and so I'm putting it along the river for the yachts specifically. I don't finish the build in the video today. I mostly just throw down the yachts and then move to the area in front of the hotel. But before I get deeper into that, this island is for the Last Resort Island Challenge by Crossing Maniac, and I am a month behind, so I'm feeling a little rushed, but I'm really excited to be participating because this is the first time I have ever participated in a challenge. And this challenge doesn't entail having to start your island over, so if it's something that's interesting to you, you could probably still get on that. It will be completed by August 31st of 2025 here. So if you're watching before then, join. But some of the rules from the challenge are having all shell and bamboo items, and there are several builds that you need to have, and there are a couple different levels of difficulty in the challenge, and I'm doing the surf step option, which has more to it. So if you did the simpler choice, you would only have to use the shell items, but I also wanted to try out using the bamboo items because I haven't used those a whole lot yet, and I think they're really cute. So I will be using those. And I need to decorate my player home as either a beach bungalow or a resort hotel, and I haven't decided which one I want to do yet, but I am leaning towards beach bungalow because I just made that hotel, and so I don't know that I necessarily need a second hotel on this island, but you never know. Maybe Tidewyn is so famous that we just have visitors all the time. But we'll see what happens there. I also need to do a beach volleyball court, a tiki bar, a souvenir shop, a yacht club, which is what I'm starting on here, and messing around with some codes because I thought it'd be fun to do something besides planks and try out the tiles there instead. But I felt like they didn't go very well with the planks, so I went ahead and copied over those codes instead. And then I need a surf shop, a surf and turf bar, which I did have to look up because I don't live on the coast, and so I didn't know what that was, but it's basically a restaurant. And I personally wanted to include a sand castle kind of idea with the castle items. I'm really excited to use those, in case you couldn't tell by the first build that I did. And also that treetop walk that I was able to create, that was another thing that I really wanted to include. And then with the villagers, you could either choose 5 villagers from the list available in the challenge, or you could just take all of them from the list. And so I decided to take 5 villagers from the provided list. So I chose June, Soleil, Flora, Phoebe, and O'Hare. And then for my 5 personal choices, I chose Bangle, Panchetti, Joey, Annalise, and Sherry. And for a little bit there, I actually did have Eloise instead, because the colors that I want to go for are blue, yellow, and orange, and Sherry is red. But then I really wanted my girl Sherry in there. I love her so much. She deserves to be on 3 islands of mine in a row. And I realized that Phoebe has some red on her. I chose her for the yellow, but she's got red. And so I was like, well, I could just, you know, they could go together. They could both be red together. So I chose Sherry instead, and I am honestly so happy to have her on my island. I think she is so cute. And I'll make sure to include a link in the description to the video detailing the challenge rules, and that will also have a link to the Discord so that you can ask questions there or see what other people are up to. This first build, I wanted to keep the yachts close to water because I just, you know, they're boats. They come out of the water, and I know that Animal Crossing isn't realistic, but I couldn't get that out of my head. So I had to straighten out the river at the river mouth here to get these 4 yachts lined up. And because of that, the build feels a little small. I didn't want to make the river completely straight for much longer than that. And I also didn't really want to put the yachts on the beach to achieve that on the water feel. But I liked how this turned out with just being up against the river. It is, however, right where I generally put my bridge. When I build an island, the bridge is right there at the river mouth, and so we'll see how I do with getting across the island, because I can definitely see myself walking down and then being confused because I can't cross right there. But I think the yachts will be worth it. The yachts will be worth it. So to the right of these yachts, I later want to build the yacht club building, which I think I'm actually going to use the museum for and put some sandcastle items around it, make it really, really fancy. I do want to lean towards fancy with this tropical island. I just naturally lean towards more elegant in my design style preferences, and so when I am combining themes or exploring new ones, my comfort zone is symmetry and grandiosity, and I don't know if I can always pull off the grandiosity, but that's what I'm drawn to, and so I do keep with that on this tropical island, as I did with the hotel, which, by the way, I was really intimidated by that build, and it is a pretty small one, I think, in comparison to some faux builds that I have seen and really enjoyed. But faux buildings are pretty intimidating to me in general, and I wasn't sure if it was something that I could do. So that's why that one's not recorded, was I needed my entire brain power, all 5 of my brain cells, to come together and build that fake hotel. So every time I run past it, I'm really excited. So even if I don't finish this challenge in time, since I started late, then, you know, I'm pretty proud of that building. And I think too that if I don't get this challenge finished in time, I'm still going to finish out the island. So, I mean, no worries on your end. The series will be completed. But my character right now is going around and adjusting some spacing because I realized I wanted more plank space to include the cute rope fence for between the yachts, so I'm messing around with that. I did not map out this build before I started. I sometimes do, and this one I probably could have done that again, but again, I just, you know, it was so different than what I typically do that I just wasn't even sure what to do. And so I just started moving with it. And I've already got a couple of adjustments that I want to make to the builds in this video, but I'm just glad that I've gotten moving on it. So I'll talk a little bit more about those thoughts later, but I'm pretty happy with this little pier with the yachts. I wish that I could connect them to the water a little differently. I wish I could just put the yachts in the water. I think that would be really amazing for my literal brain, but I think it's pretty cute the way it is. Side note, does anybody else press random buttons until the function they want comes up? You've probably seen me already a couple times in the video pressing the wrong button when I was trying to get to something else. and I really don't mind it when I'm just playing the game, but when I watch it back on my recordings, it's a little bit silly to see. I kind of do the same thing with parking my car, to be honest. I just park my car and remember the general area, and I don't memorize exactly where it's at. So then I come back out of the grocery store and I have to look for my car, which, you know, again, I don't really mind it when it's happening. But then if I'm with someone else, it's suddenly a lot more embarrassing, which, you know, like, everybody loses their car in the car parking lot at some point, you know, like, I don't feel like I'm special or anything, but I see this same pattern in my decorating process, and it's pretty silly. But you know what? I have found my car every single time I have had to look for it, so I'm probably gonna keep doing the same exact thing, honestly. It's been working. I'm fine. And the comparison might not make a whole lot of sense, but in my brain it does. And so just by way further of explanation, just kind of that it'll work out eventually, so I'm not gonna worry about memorizing the specifics is the approach that I'm talking about there. And I was also pretty tired on this day, honestly. I mentioned in my previous video that I moved, and things have been pretty go ever since then, trying to get adjusted into the new apartment. And then also I started picking up more work, and so I'm working with some new people because I kind of do freelance work, and so learning their preferences has been pretty different, but I'm getting the hang of it, and I think it'll be really smooth going here once I get into more of a rhythm. But also on the day of recording this, it was the Pokemon Go Fest, which is the biggest Pokemon Go event of the year. And so I was out walking around that morning doing a whole bunch of exercise on top of already being tired. And I really wanted to play Animal Crossing. So I sat down to do it anyway. And so I think that also impacted a little bit of me just pressing random buttons. But honestly, I do that even when I'm not tired. It really did not serve me well when I played a lot of League of Legends, but you know what? It's fine. We're here for the experience, right? For the experience. At this point in this yacht build, I've pretty much figured out all the spacing, and I'm satisfied with the designs that I have on the ground, but I did want to adjust the river a little bit because, like I said, I didn't want the river to be super straight, and so I had to adjust the river flow, and I cut out a lot of the terraforming and waterscaping that I did there because I spent a while on that. But then I'm here dropping down another life ring to add a bit of detail because it doesn't feel quite finished yet, and I think that adding the museum later will really add to that build, so I'm looking forward to returning to that. But at this point, I moved to the entrance, to the right side of the entrance, and I really wanted the hotel to line up with resident services because I decided that resident services would be in charge of all of the different tourist check-ins, tourist services, all that fun stuff. And the hotel being close by just made sense to me, but it did leave me with an awkward amount of space that I didn't know what to do with. And so at this point, I just started exploring, and I really wanted these sandcastle items to work here, but I think they're just too tall and too overwhelming. So they will be here throughout the entirety of the video, but I did just before I took the beauty shots at the end, I took them down because they were too tall. They were too majestic. They just didn't work. But anyway, here I am being really excited and hopeful that this will work out. Very cute. Oh, and something else with this island that I'm actually super excited about is I figured out a time for a double rainbow that fits right where both of the bushes that I want are blooming. I want the yellow hibiscus and I think it's the tea tree bushes. I want those in bloom. They are in bloom at the same time on August 2nd at 4 p.m. when this island gets a double rainbow. So my island will be set in the middle of the afternoon, which hopefully isn't too obnoxiously bright, but at the same time, I mean, are you really at a very luxurious tropical place if the sun isn't overwhelmingly bright? So maybe it makes sense. But anyway, right here, I am trying desperately to put down this sand path that I found that looked really cute, but the middle piece just did not match the coloring for the outside pieces. So I ended up giving up on this sand path, not just for this part, but all together. I went ahead and swapped to this really pretty sand path that other creators who are involved in this challenge are using, that's got white shells and white flowers along the border. It is so cute, but I just wanted to try doing something different from everyone else because I didn't want to copy too much of their ideas, you know. And it is actually a pretty good change for me because not only is that path cuter and better, but it also takes up way less space in my custom codes. So I can download more custom codes so I can have a sign for like my tiki bar that says tiki bar so people don't have to just guess what it is, which hopefully you can look at it and you can just know that it's a tiki bar. That would be good design, but I can also put a sign, so I'm excited about that. In this section here, I wanted to do a little pool relaxation area because basically all of the fancy hotels have their little pool area for their guests. And I really wanted to try the wood plank, and then I was like, I want to do something fancier. So I was trying something different with the tiles. And the tiles are so pretty, but they are also so loud. So I'm not even sure that these are tiles that I'm going to be using really, but I'm going to try them again in different places to see if they fit better. But at the end of it all, I decided going for a more simple tile than the ones that I'm showing here. This second set of tiling that I look at was less loud and less overwhelming, which was really nice, but they didn't quite go together with this alternating pattern that I was trying right here. Like they go together, but I feel like the ones with more blue on the border just really would do well if they were connected to others of the same type. But maybe when I revisit this another time, it will make more sense to me than it did on a day where I was really tired. So anyway, these are super cute, and I really do want all three of these different tiles to work somewhere. I was really excited to find these, especially since they really bring together that blue, yellow, and orange that I'm going for with this island. But, you know, they're just too powerful. They're too powerful for this scene. It's not relaxing enough with the pool. This light orange tile that I end up going with, I like much better for the relaxing pool area. Over in front of this DJ turntable, I was using some different but also exciting tiles. I really wanted to have a music player when I was initially setting up this area, like right at the beginning. The DJ turntable was the first thing I put down, I think. And I really wanted to have some kind of a music item because I thought it would be fun to play some KK Slider songs because I'm trying to incorporate those more. But then it turned into this like DJ performance dance floor kind of an area, which is cute, and I like this tile combination, even though that tile right there does not go over the path like the blue one was. I am so glad that I was in voice chat in JoJo Cross's server with some other Animal Crossing players because I had not seen this really together this way before. I was very confused. I was like, what's going on? And they said that tile probably has a transparent piece in it, and so then it snaps to the side of the pathing, which my light blue tile that is the walkway, the light blue and white one, it does snap to the side of the path. So like I guess in my head I knew that was a thing, but seeing it together like that with those two tiles right next to each other, I was like, what is going on? But anyway, back to the DJ spot. I don't think it's gonna be able to stay there. Like, I know I just put it there and I've already changed my mind about it. This whole spot is kind of, it's got the Grand Hotel, it's got the yachts that will lead into the Yacht Club Museum build, and this pool area is also more high-end, kind of a relaxing area. And then I have this random DJ spot. So I think the build will fit better somewhere else. So stay tuned while I figure that out. Like and subscribe so you can figure out where the DJ goes. But anyway, that was just kind of funny after I finished all of these builds and I was looking at that and I was like, yeah, that does not go there at all. But you know what? Trust the process. That's all I can say. Trust the process. At this point, I am exploring different fence options, so I just laid them all out next to each other and decided to alternate between this log fence and the hedge. And there is a lot of moving it around because I was trying to figure out how to alternate that. And I am pretty happy with how it turned out. I think it adds some good height to this area because the pools are pretty flat. And I also do put in some Moroccan sofas, which are really cute furniture items that I didn't think I'd ever get to use. So yay for Tropical Island Challenge, let's go. Anyway, the build will be wrapping up here pretty soon, just me fidgeting with some last minute placements here. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out my comments, and I will end the video with some beauty shots that include some minor updates that I did after I finished recording, so stay tuned for those. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. It means a lot and I really appreciate your time, and I hope that however your day goes, something wonderful happens at least in part of it. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and I truly hope that you just have a stellar day.